Imagine a business where you spend most of your money before you earn a cent, where you control neither the price you sell at nor the cost of what you buy, where a single afternoon of bad weather can destroy an entire year's income, and where the work itself is one of the deadliest jobs a person can do. You've just imagined farming, and it might be the riskiest business on earth. Most businesses earn as they go. A shop buys stock, sells it, and buys more. A farm does the opposite. In the spring, a farmer spends an enormous amount of money, all at once, on seed, fertilizer, fuel, chemicals, and the rent or loan payment on the land, often hundreds of thousands of dollars before a single plant has grown. Then they wait. For months, that money sits in the ground as a bet. They can't check the results early and adjust. They can't run the experiment again next week. There is only one harvest a year, which means a farmer gets only one shot every 12 months to get it right. Over an entire 40-year career, a grain farmer will do this maybe 40 times. 40 attempts total to master a game with brutal stakes. Compare that to a factory that runs 1,000 cycles a day, learning and adjusting constantly, and you start to see how uniquely exposed a farm really is. And a farm isn't just exposed to money and weather. It's exposed to biology, which follows its own schedule and answers to no one. A crop takes the months it takes to grow, and not a day less. A cow produces milk on her own rhythm. A farmer can't speed things up to catch a good price or pause growth to wait out a bad one. On top of that, every field is under constant biological siege. Insects can descend and strip a crop in days. A plant disease or a fungus can sweep through and rot a harvest in the field. Weeds compete silently for water and light. A single new pest blowing in on the wind can turn a healthy crop into a total loss. The farmer is not running a predictable machine. They are managing a living, unpredictable system that is always trying to die or be eaten on a timeline they cannot control. And here's the part that makes farming different from almost any other business on the planet. After a farmer has spent all that money and waited all those months, their entire year can be erased in a matter of minutes by something they cannot control at all. The weather: a hailstorm can shred a ripe crop into confetti in 15 minutes. A late frost can kill an orchard's entire fruit set in a single cold night. A drought can slowly bake a field to dust across a summer, or a flood can drown it in a week. A heat wave at the wrong moment during pollination can quietly slash the yield of a cornfield that otherwise looks perfectly healthy. No other major industry faces the risk of near total loss from a passing cloud. A software company doesn't lose a year's work to hail. A bank doesn't get flooded out of business by too much rain in July. But a farmer lives every single season one bad weather event away from disaster, and there is very little they can do but watch the sky. Now suppose the weather cooperates and the harvest comes in beautifully. The farmer still faces a second, entirely separate risk. They have almost no control over the price they'll be paid. Most farm products are commodities: wheat, corn, soybeans, milk, sold at a price set by vast global markets, far from any individual field. The farmer is a price taker. They produce their crop first, sink all the costs, and only afterward discover what it's worth. And those prices swing violently. In just the last few years, corn prices fell by roughly half, and soybean prices dropped about 40%. Picture that: you do everything right, you grow a perfect crop, and the market simply decides it's worth half of what it was 2 seasons ago. There is no other business quite like it, where you commit all your costs up front, and then let a distant market tell you, after the fact, whether you made a living or lost a fortune. You might think the farmer could at least protect themselves by controlling their costs, but they can't do that either. The price of fertilizer, of diesel, of seed, of the enormous machines they depend on, is set by other industries and global forces. And in recent years, nearly all of it has marched relentlessly upward. So the modern farmer is squeezed from both ends at once. The price they receive for their crop is a wild, unpredictable roller coaster, while the cost of producing that crop is a steady, remorseless climb. When those two lines cross the wrong way, and the cost of growing a bushel ends up higher than the price it sells for, the farmer loses money on every acre, no matter how skilled or hardworking they are. And unlike almost any other business, they usually can't just raise their prices to compensate, because they never controlled the price in the first place. Most of what a farm produces is also ruthlessly perishable, which strips away one of the few tools other businesses use to manage risk: the ability to wait. A factory that doesn't like today's price can warehouse its product and sell next month. A farmer often can't. Milk leaves the farm every day or two before it spoils. Fruit and vegetables rot within days of ripening. Livestock keep eating expensive feed every single day they aren't sold, slowly turning profit into loss the longer you hold them. So a huge amount of farm output has to be sold more or less the moment it's ready, at whatever price the market happens to be offering that week. Take it or leave it. And the farm itself can never truly stop. The cows still need milking, the animals still need feeding, the fields still need tending, whether prices are high, low, or catastrophic. There is no pause button on a living farm. Layered on top of all this is debt, and a lot of it. Modern farming is astonishingly capital intensive. Farmland can cost thousands of dollars an acre, a single combine harvester can run over $500,000, and a full set of equipment easily climbs past $1 million. Almost no farmer owns all of this outright. They borrow heavily and carry enormous loans against their land and machinery. Across the United States, total farm debt is climbing toward a record of over $600 billion, with interest payments alone hitting record highs. This debt acts like a lever. In a good year, it magnifies the gains. But in a bad year, it magnifies the pain because the loan payments come due whether the crop succeeded or not. A farm can look wealthy on paper, sitting on land and equipment worth millions, and still be one poor harvest away from being unable to make its payments and sliding toward bankruptcy. And these aren't just theoretical risks. They regularly collide in the real world all at once. When crop prices crash at the same time that input costs and interest rates are high, the result is a wave of red ink across the countryside. In one recent stretch, American farmers faced tens of billions of dollars in losses on their crops in a single year. With corn growers alone losing something like $20 billion, soybean farmers around $10 billion, and wheat farmers billions more. When that happens, farm bankruptcies climb. In one recent year, they jumped by nearly 50% nationwide and even faster across the heart of the Farm Belt. These are not careless people making bad decisions. They are skilled operators, often farming land their families have worked for generations, caught in a machine that can turn a lifetime of effort into insolvency through no fault of their own. There's another dimension to the price risk that makes it even harder to bear. A farmer isn't just at the mercy of local markets, but of the entire planet. Because crops like wheat, corn, and soybeans are traded globally, an event on the far side of the world can crater a farmer's income overnight for reasons that have nothing to do with their farm. A war in a major grain exporting region can send prices lurching. A trade dispute and a sudden tariff on soybeans can slam shut one of the biggest export markets in a single announcement, leaving a mountain of unsold crop and collapsing prices at home. A bumper harvest in another country floods the world market and drags everyone's price down. A shift in currency values quietly makes your grain more expensive and less competitive abroad. The farmer in a quiet rural field is, whether they like it or not, holding a position in a volatile global market, exposed to political and economic shocks from thousands of miles away that they could never have seen coming. As if the financial risk weren't enough, there is another kind of risk that most business owners never have to think about. Farming is physically one of the most dangerous jobs in the entire economy. The fatality rate in agriculture is roughly 7 times higher than the average across all American workers. By some measures, a farm laborer faces something on the 1 in 50 chance of dying on the job over a working life. The dangers are everywhere. Tractor rollovers alone account for more than half of all farm deaths, a heavy machine tipping over on a slope in an instant. Workers are pulled into power takeoff shafts and augers, engulfed and suffocated in flowing grain inside storage bins, crushed by large livestock, and exposed to dangerous chemicals and lung-damaging dust. The farmer isn't just risking their money on every harvest. Very often they are quietly risking their body and their life as well. And then there is the risk you can't see at all, the toll it takes on the mind. Think about living year after year with this exact combination of pressures. Your entire livelihood is bet on the weather, which you cannot control. Your income is set by markets, which you cannot control. Your costs are set by others, which you cannot control. You are often deeply in debt, working alone in an isolated place, watching the sky and the commodity prices with a knot in your stomach. It is a recipe for immense, grinding stress. It is no coincidence that farmers and farm workers suffer from some of the highest rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide of any occupation. The romantic image of the peaceful farmer in a golden field hides a profession carrying one of the heaviest and most relentless mental burdens in modern life. So the obvious question is, why would anyone do this? Why take on a business with worse odds than a casino that can bankrupt you, injure you, and grind down your mind? Part of the answer is that, for many, it isn't really a choice, it's an identity. Farms are often passed down through generations, and with them comes a deep sense of stewardship, of belonging to a piece of land, of doing work that literally feeds people. There is a pride and a purpose in it that a spreadsheet can't capture. And part of the answer is that society, recognizing just how brutal and unfair these risks are, has built safety nets specifically to keep farmers afloat. Crop insurance, government subsidies, and disaster relief exist precisely because the risks of farming are so extreme that a normal private business simply could not survive them alone. We have, in effect, quietly agreed to share some of the risk because we all depend on the outcome. And that risk is not standing still. If anything, it is growing. A changing climate is making the weather roulette more violent, not less, bringing more frequent and more extreme droughts, floods, heat waves, and unseasonal frosts, the very events most likely to wipe out a crop. Global markets are becoming more volatile and interconnected, so a war or a policy change on the far side of the planet can swing a farmer's income overnight. The machines and inputs keep getting more expensive, deepening the debt. Each of the risks we've walked through, the weather, the prices, the costs, the debt, the danger, is being amplified by the forces reshaping our world. The business of farming was never safe. It is arguably becoming riskier still. Here is the strangest part of the whole story. Every other industry works hard to push risk away, to hedge it, insure it, and pass it on to someone else. Farming does the opposite. It absorbs risk, enormous, uncontrollable life and death risk, so that the rest of us don't have to think about it. The reason you can walk into a store any day of the year and find it overflowing with cheap, abundant food, at prices so stable you barely notice them, is that millions of people are out there quietly running the riskiest business on earth, betting their savings, their livelihoods, and sometimes their safety on every single season. The calm, full grocery shelf is built on top of an ocean of risk that almost none of us ever see. So the next time you sit down to eat, remember that someone somewhere bet their entire year, their savings, and sometimes their life on the weather and the markets to put that food in front of you. Follow along for more of the hidden reality behind the food we all depend on.